Ramadan, Jerusalem Day threatened evictions. Many factors came together in Israel and triggered the worst violence on the Temple Mount for years. But how are things going now? There were also serious clashes between Palestinian demonstrators and Israeli security forces in Jerusalem on Monday. The focus of the violence was the Temple Mount, Haram al-Sharif in Arabic, in the Old Town, which includes holy places for Jews and Muslims. But what exactly happened on Monday? On Monday, Israel celebrated Jerusalem Day, a holiday that celebrates Israeli control of Jerusalem's old city and is particularly important for Jewish settlers. Tensions were expected from all sides. Palestinian protesters threw stones. Israeli security forces used tear gas and stun grenades in the complex of the Al-Aqsa Mosque, where people had gathered for prayer on the occasion of the fasting month of Ramadan. According to the Palestinian Red Crescent, 305 Palestinians were injured on Monday alone, as were 21 police officers, according to the authorities. In the late afternoon, there was a rocket alarm in Jerusalem and near the border with Gaza. Several rockets were intercepted by the Israeli military and parliament evacuated as a precaution. The radical Islamic Hamas confessed to the attacks and spoke of a reaction to crimes and aggression against the holy city. According to the Ministry of Health in Gaza, 9 people were killed in airstrikes by the Israeli armed forces in the early evening. Israel confirmed an airstrike in Gaza and spoke of the targeted killing of 3 Hamas commanders. There was also excitement about an incident near the so-called Lion Gate on the edge of the Old Town. Palestinian youths threw stones at a vehicle which hit a demonstrator, and a police officer then had to protect the driver from the crowd. Many internet users, including major media from the Middle East, distribute shortened or sharpened versions of the video in order to accuse the Jewish driver of a previously unproven intent. Why was the violence escalating now? These are the most violent riots in Jerusalem for years, and some of the triggers go back a long way. For more than a decade, residents of the East Jerusalem district of Sheikh Jarrah have been fighting with Jewish settlers for land and houses in court. Evictions are threatened. A court hearing had actually been announced for Monday, but it was postponed in response to the protests. The quarter has a symbolic meaning and, in the eyes of many Palestinians, is now representative of all of Jerusalem, and Jerusalem representative of Palestine or even the entire Arab world. Especially in Ramadan, such narratives about oppression and justice motivate many Palestinian youth to act, sometimes peacefully, sometimes violently. Demonstrations by activists had mobilized more and more people in the past few weeks and have already ended several times in street battles with the police. Since the beginning of Ramadan and the clashes between the Arabs and Jews in the Old Town, we have seen a steady rise in tensions, reports Dr. Michael Milstein, director of the Forum for Palestinian Studies at Tel Aviv University. The current escalation is another chapter in the long history of violence surrounding the Temple Mount, Haram al-Sharif, 1990, 1996, 2000, 2017, and now. Other reasons, such as the Palestinians' frustration with the economic situation and the postponed election planned for May 22nd, would play an additional secondary role, according to Milstein. What is Palestinian politics about the protests? The Palestinian Autonomous Administration, led by Fatah, gives political support to the protests. Hussein al-Sheikh, a member of the Fatah Central Committee, called the actions of the Israeli security forces on Monday a hideous aggression. For the expert Milstein, the autonomy authority is in a bind. It's a catch-22 situation. The escalation helps to direct the public frustration over the postponed election to Israel. Conversely, it is an opportunity for their rival Hamas to build power throughout the Palestinian territory. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas supported the protests, but at the same time wanted to ensure that they did not spill over into other areas. Hamas has a clear motivation to stir up violence in order to strengthen the resistance in the West Bank. It has failed for a decade, says Milstein. Their limited actions, 3 to 4 rockets and Molotov balloons, show that Hamas does not actually want to start a large-scale campaign at the moment. And he's wrong when I come to the development then. How are things going in the next few days? The fasting month of Ramadan ends this week with a celebration of the breaking of the fast on Wednesday and Thursday. So today when I'm filming and today when you're seeing this. On Saturday, many Palestinians commemorate the expulsions as a result of the Arab-Israeli war from 47 to 49 on Nakba Day. Although the coming days offer cause for further violent protests, expert Milstein was still cautiously optimistic at noon. Should Monday end without tragic incidents, victims on both sides, or a large number of rockets from Gaza, tensions will slowly ease by Thursday. With a cautious approach, Israel could contribute a lot, Milstein hoped. In view of the escalation in the evening, the rockets and airstrikes, this hope could have been in vain. And I must say, until today, the rocket launches and airstrikes have multiplied, and it doesn't really look good to de-escalate at the moment when I'm filming this. And just on a personal level, our partner city, my hometown's partner city of Rishon LeZion, has been hit by a rocket from Gaza as well. And you get a little bit more personal perspective when you have this more direct contact. And so the whole thing in general doesn't feel good, but it gives you a little bit more perspective thinking about this, that there are people who might have been visitors here in our town, have been affected, and we are friends with for quite some time now. Our city and Rishon LeZion have a partnership that lasts for quite some time. And another point that is not very nice, and leaving out the whole pandemic thing, that they were not allowed to gather anyway because of the pandemic. There was something quite atrocious, I must say, in my hometown as well. In front of the Jewish synagogue in Münster, there were people burning Israeli flags there. And I'm so glad that the neighbors called the police, and the police caught these people. That is not proper behavior. That is not something that we can tolerate. We have the back of Israel because of our history, of course, even stronger than others. But Israel has a right of existence, and Israel has our backs. I don't always agree with the decisions of the Israeli government, but there are many who say they want to destroy Israel, and we have to face them. All the democracies have to stand at the side of Israel against people who try to destroy them. And so it went a bit differently in the end now, but that is my point of view, which I wanted to make very clear. And I'm one of those who are happy that we have a Jewish community here in my hometown after all that happened 70 years ago. And we will protect this community with everything we have, even if idiots like yesterday show up. And so thanks again to the neighbors, thanks again to our local police. And if you want to stay informed, I would be really appreciative if you subscribe to my channel. If you like my videos, not this one, it's maybe a bit dark for my taste and for your taste as well, but that topic had to be brought up. If you like some of my videos, please don't forget to like them as well. And I hope to see you in my next video. Auf Wiedersehen.